You know that you're embarrassing yourself on the internet properly when your friends are starting to make fun of your YouTube intro and you can't get coffee without them mimicking the "Hi, hello, I'm Cecilia." Anyway. Hi, hello. Hi, hello, I'm Cecilia, and welcome to another video. I will take you with me during my first ever artist alley. Yes, that's right, my introvert ass is going to conventions. Honestly, it's a great change from my room and the university library, but I'm very excited and I can't wait to take you with me on this super new adventure. Are you okay? There you go. So it's currently December 23rd and the convention took place over a month ago, and I've just been sitting here with all this footage on my phone because, well, university finals.
Hello there.
Please go away.
Aww.
But yeah, now it's finally time to get down to business and finally make this video. I went to the Crea Weekend in Rijswijk in the Broodfabriek, which is an expo center in the Netherlands. And I brought all my products and I threw myself into the lion's den, and in this video I'm gonna tell you everything. We'll start with prepping for the con, and obviously I have some footage of the con itself, and I'll come in back and forth with some voiceovers and comments. But I also know that many of you are interested in the financial side and like the practical side, so at the end of the video I'll come back and openly discuss what I made, what my experience was, and maybe give some tips too. Anyway, this is my experience as a first-time con goer, and it all started with a very, very stressful prepping period. Hi, hello, as promised, voiceover me here. Preparing for a convention is a lot more work than I initially thought because I make all my products by hand and I wanted to have at least 5 pieces of each item, and I plan to bring about 75 items, and well, it was a lot of work. I did not record everything as I spent most of the time sitting on my floor watching Netflix shows while mindlessly making stickers without wanting to worry about shooting this video. But you just watched me make and pack all magnetic bookmarks. You saw me visit a craft store for supplies that run out so fast if you're making this much stuff. And I printed and cut art prints and of course made stickers, as you can see here. Now I'm working on resin pins. I showed you in my 3rd studio vlog exactly how I make them. I'll link the video somewhere in the screen, but basically I print the design on shrink plastic, cut it out, shrink it in the oven, and then cover it in resin. I paste pin backings on it and then add backing cards. But then, after a sleepless night of worrying and feeling super stressed, my mom and I got up early to get into the car and on towards the Broodfabriek. When I got there, I initially was too embarrassed to film, so that's why you only see pictures, but I found my confidence and I recorded an entire video of me and my mom setting up my table. It was really nice to have my mom with me as to not be alone. I was super stressed though, and I might have been a little harsh towards her when she didn't exactly follow my plans. Sorry, Mom. This here is my initial setup drawing. I will put it on the screen. My actual grid cube booth is about 1.5 meters long, and I had a 3-meter table, so I had lots of room left over. I also brought a tablecloth that was way too small, so I did not look all that amazing on the first day. But my amazing mom ran out to buy a big white tablecloth just in time for day 2. Yeah, anyway, enjoy this footage of us building the table. The original video was 70 minutes long and I reduced it to a minute. Just before the convention started, I filmed a quick video showing my booth. Yeah, this was how it looked on day one. I was happy with my setup, but I did learn some things that I want to change next time. I shot only some short videos here and there, but I was surprised to have made a few sales on day one, the Friday, because the con was really slow. I also heard from other vendors that it was extremely quiet and they were worried about breaking even. And yeah, there were barely any people. I did have some really nice conversations with people and I had 5 customers on day one, but yeah, we packed it all up for the night by putting bed sheets around my booth, and then at home I made some actual price stickers because on day one I used sticky notes and that looked ridiculous. And then day 2 was amazing. I added the white tablecloth and it made my booth look 10 times prettier. On Saturday and Sunday, another convention was going on in the hall next to the Crea Weekend, and that was a fantasy con where basically my audience was. I will talk about this later, but the Crea Weekend had a demographic of 60-year-old females that wanted to buy craft supplies, and my audience are geeky people in their 20s who love art and video games, so I was just really at the wrong convention. But yeah, the people who were at the Fantasy Con were able to come to the Crea Weekend free of charge, and because a bunch of them did, I had way more sales and compliments and follows, and that was amazing. The last day really resembled day 2. The Fantasy Con people were still there and I had so much fun. Being at the convention gave me so much energy, and I just want to thank every single one of you who stopped by and everyone who said nice things and complimented my work. Even if this was the wrong convention for me and my products, it was a magical first experience and I am excited to start going to actual Comic Cons in 2024. Hi again, it's me, and I think that's all the footage I had. Now, as promised, I wanted to deep dive into my experience and also into the financials. Let's first start with the expenses. I'll say this right up, I spent way more than I made this con. I probably talked about this a little bit already, but I'll talk about it later as well. I just went to the wrong convention, even though I had tons of fun. But yeah, the prices really reflect that because the table fee was really expensive. I got a 3 meter by 1 meter table, which was really big, but also just insanely expensive. Let's start with the table fee and the convention fee. I'll put the breakdown of what I paid on the screen here somewhere. But yeah, you can see that the Crea Weekend was really not a convention that was for my audience. It's not a Comic-Con because Comic-Cons usually have a discount for small artists, and this convention was way more targeted to craft supplies and to businesses that already sold craft supplies regularly, and of course I don't fit into that spectrum. So as you can see, I paid 230 for the table alone, euros, which usually an Artist Alley table is like 150 or maybe 100, so this was really expensive. But again, I didn't know this as this was my first time. And then I made the mistake of paying for electricity, which I just really did not need, so that was just 60 euros wasted. Don't pay for things you don't necessarily need. Then I paid for 2 chairs and administration costs and a vendor card fee. So that totaled to about 257 euros, which is insane. And then of course 50 euros of VAT or taxes came on top of that. So yeah, I ended up paying 310 euros. And that's an insane amount of money, and if I were to do this again, I would not go to this convention again because it's way too expensive for small artists, in my opinion. And then the costs that were possibly even worse are the investment costs into my booth and into my products. I'll put a breakdown on the screen again, but yeah, the total production costs of like the products I wanted to bring and make ended up being around 200 euros. I obviously usually pay for costs like this for photo paper and sticker paper and all the paper and supplies I need to make my products. But it was really hard because for like a first time convention, you don't know how much stock to bring and how much you need to make. So I think I did end up overproducing and over making products. I had a lot of stock left after the convention, but I don't necessarily see this as a loss because I still have those products now and I can sell them online. And I think since the convention about a month ago, I have already made back like 80% of those costs in online Etsy sales. Then we get to the one-time investments, the things that I can also use for future cons when I know how to handle my finances and my production value costs a lot better. And those are of course the grid cubes that I used to make my display, and the table runner with my logo, tablecloths, a tray that I used for my sticker display, the gacha ball machine, and I did not pay for the little crates that I had on my table because I have those at home and I just took everything that I had in my own display here out of them and took them with me to the convention. So the total costs for those display things were $155 in total. So yeah, the total expenses, if I would put all the costs that I made into one big pile, I would have spent 855 euros on display, table costs, and production costs all in one. But yeah, I did do some math and just look at what I actually needed, and I can manage my finances a lot better. So for the next con, I don't have the initial costs of making a display because I already have those supplies, so that would help. And then I also think I can just push the production costs down a lot. And then the table fee, of course, was really high for this convention, and it was a convention that was not really suited for my niche and brand. So, well, the usual table fee for a Comic-Con as a small artist is about 100 euros. So I think I can literally bring down the expenses to about 150 or 200 euros for the next convention. So even though I spent a lot and I might have overspent also, I think I learned a lot and I can take these investments to my next event, and I think I can actually start making a profit from my next convention. So to remind you, a usual Comic-Con, according to my math and prediction, would cost me about 150 to 200 euros. And I already made 180 euros at this convention where my usual audience was basically not present and the convention was really slow. So the fact that I basically already broke even with a usual table cost in the future at a convention that was really bad for my audience makes me optimistic for the future. Anyway, I promised I would also show you what I made and my sales breakdown, so let's do that right now. I wrote down every single sale I made and also how late that sale was made and how much and if it was paid by in cash or PIN during the convention, and I think I will just put up my list on the screen right now. But yeah, as you can see, the Friday, as also other vendors told me, was super slow. There were only 5 sales for me, or 5 orders, I guess, and more sales. But yeah, I made 30 euros in total. And then Saturday was the best day. I made 85 euros and 50 cents, and I had 16 customers in total. Then on Sunday, I had 16 customers as well, but I made 70 euros. So I sold smaller items like 1 sticker. So yeah, all 3 days combined, I made 185 euros, which was honestly more than I expected. And again, I'm optimistic with how that bodes for future conventions where my audience is present. But yeah, that was all the financial stuff. Thank you for sitting through that, and thank you for your interest. But again, in businesses, and especially small art businesses, investing is a thing, and I'm optimistic for the future of my future conventions. And I'm honestly really happy with the customers I had, and I had an amazing experience during the convention. So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that. So I promised I'd give some tips, and I have 5 things I learned from this convention to tell you right now. So first off, if you ever go to a convention, find the right convention. You know your product best, you know your niche best, but also just know your audience. So I fit really well in Comic Cons and geeky events where people are like my age, so 20, 25, 30 maybe. But yeah, even though it was really nice to start with this slower convention, it was not the right type of convention for my audience. So I would advise you to be very picky where you apply. And then of course, I mean, you just saw me talk about finances. The don't overspend is kind of real. Yes, you have to invest in your booth and it's gonna take time to make back what you spent, but only pay and order the minimum that you need, especially if you're just starting out. I paid for a 3-meter table, which was way too big, and you really don't need that much space if you're just starting out. Also know that electricity is usually really expensive and you really don't need it. Just bring a power bank, or I mean, usually you don't even need electricity because the lights are there and you only need your own phone basically. Yeah, and definitely don't overspend on vendor badges because you are most likely able to manage your table alone, and if you do want to bring a friend or a family member, most cons will let you order an extra vendor badge when you really need it, so don't in advance pay too much. And then just some things I learned at the actual convention. For a display, height is really necessary because there's most likely gonna be a crowd and people look up over the crowd to see your booth, and if you don't have anything on their eye level, they will most likely just walk by. So make sure your booth is high and that eye-catching products are high up. A thing that I learned as well is that displays can be too busy. I really liked how mine turned out, but it was really busy and sensory overload, and that might put people off because they see interesting things but they can't choose and they can't immediately pinpoint what they're looking for, and then they will also just leave and walk away. Something else that draws people in is standing up. I know it's really hard to stand behind your booth for a convention that lasts from 9 to 5, but yeah, especially during the busy hours, which are usually between 12 and 3, stand up and make sure you engage with people. You appear more open and approachable that way, and people are more likely to come to your booth and just talk and watch what you're doing. I genuinely think 80% of my sales were made when I was engaging and standing up. Talking and engagement is really another tip. People are more likely to stay at your booth and therefore buy something. And I myself am an introvert, as I said, so I was really nervous to start. But actually you find that most people at conventions really go there not only for the products but for the vibes and the happiness. So it's really easy to just ask a person about their day, how their day's going, how they're enjoying the convention, what they want to see today. And usually if you compliment them or point out how they look, their necklace, their elf ears, I don't know, it will help engage them with you, and engagement will really get you a long way. And apart from sales, talking with people will also just help you reflect on the convention, and you can learn a lot from how people react, how they look at your booth, what they want to know. For example, I had a lot of older people tell me, oh, these products are for kids, right? And it was really nice to hear that because that confirmed the fact that I was not at the right convention. So talking with people and asking what they think, if you can handle a bit of criticism, is really helpful. But yeah, I do think that's all I have to say for now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it gave you some insights and maybe some realistic expectations if you are planning or thinking about going to conventions yourself. And yeah, it was really fun to document this, and I can't stress enough, I know I overspent and I know it wasn't the most successful con financially and sales-wise, but I really enjoyed it. It was one of the most emotionally educational experiences for me personally, and I was just really happy to find that I really enjoy doing this, like making art and sharing my art, and hearing people appreciate my art really makes me insanely happy and also gives me so much to, well, live for. So overall, it was a really positive experience and I'm really happy I did this. I'm really happy I stepped out of my comfort zone and did something that I was so scared to do because it was really, really good for me. So yeah, I will be going to other conventions in the future, mostly Comic-Cons and conventions that I know I fit into, that are cheaper and that are doable for me. So this experience was really educational. I know what to expect, I know where to go, I know how to go, and I'm looking forward to the future and future cons. So yes, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and please let me know what you think in the comments, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them. And please like the video if you liked it or if it helped you, and I would really appreciate it if you were to subscribe. And yeah, that's basically all I have to say right now. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!